spectacular scenery and a thrilling race. Today, you will meet some of the favorites of the race and find out what they think about this Saturday's competition. I'm your host, Teemu Virtanen, and for all media representatives here, please raise your hand whenever we have a question, and I will let you in. But let's get started right away with two great people behind the scenes, the CEO of Ski Classics, David Nilsson, and the event director, Ramun Ratti. Welcome, both of you. How are you guys doing? How's life?
Welcome, Teemu. Thank you, Teemu. All good here. Happy to be in the Engadin Valley.
Indeed.
All good here as well.
Yeah, it is a perfect place. I know I've done the race myself so many times, but David, let's get started with you. I mean, of course, this race, I mean, as I said, it's been part of Ski Classics ever since its birth, 2014. To me, it feels like it's almost like a Grand Classics race. It's always there. It's a solid race. It's a great race. But how do you personally feel about it? What's your kind of attachment to it?
That's a hot discussion you're mentioning there. So no, it definitely becoming a classic. I mean, of course, the time flies, and when we started off with quite short notice, when we had to move the event in Gisarska at that time due to lack of snow, and we moved it to Engadin Valley and to the Swartz start and finish at that time. It was, I mean, the time has gone, and it's becoming, as you say, a classic, I would say, in our series. It feels like very close to being a Grand Classics event. I can agree on that.
So Ramun, how do you feel about that when you listen to David? That you guys are almost like Grand Classics. You're part of the history.
We feel honored. Obviously, no. It's for us. It's like I always say. For us, it's an honor and a privilege to be part of the Ski Series Classics, to working together with the Ski Classics series and all the people around. And yes, we were part from our beginning. We are getting into 11th edition, and it was never in our question to not be part or not want to be part of this great series. And we believe in the series, and we believe in the growth and in the direction. So yeah, we are very honored and grateful.
And record number of participants this year as well.
Yes,
Congrats.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. You also have some other news for us to share about this Saturday's race.
Yeah, well, if you wanna, David goes through the map afterwards, but we have on the track side, we did some adjustments on the track. We moved the sprint in St. Moritz from the lake to center town in St. Moritz, if you want to say. I think it will be a fantastic place for a sprint. It's right at the so-called Polo Visa in center town of St. Moritz Bad. That's a very good setup. New. We have a small adjustment around La Punt, where we go kind of around the town a little bit more, and in Val Rosec, famous Val Rosec, we this year we aren't able to go all the way up to Akla Kolani due to a mudslide who came down this summer, and we have to turn a little bit earlier. So that were or are the changes in that area. And the others changements we have is to the starting times. We postponed the starting times each for an hour. So these are the changes we made for this upcoming event next Saturday.
Thank you very much. And speaking of which, I mean, the maps, David. Let's go and take a look at that, and you can go through the course right now.
Yeah, exactly. So as of course Ramun mentioned, we maybe all remember that we had a cold year a couple of years ago, and after that the LOC made a good decision to move the start from Sort, which is normally a little bit colder place, to Pontresina, which is higher up and also where the sun comes earlier. And they also at that time moved the start 1 hour. So we are starting up in Pontresina. We have men starting first at then 9:55 this year, and women at 10 o'clock. And then have a very short, interesting start to the first sprint at 5 kilometers at the golf course in Samedan, which I think is one of the most, so to say, the greatest sprints in the tour, because very clear, very open, very interesting sprint to start off a race with. Then we go through the forest of Stadswald and come up and cross the railroad, which is quite interesting also for a course that we actually have a railroad crossing. And then we come up, and this year, as Ramun mentioned, we don't go over the middle of the lake in some ways, we go on the side due to some weather conditions, if I say like this, with the ice on the sides, not everywhere being frozen in time. So we also moved the sprint position, as Ramun already mentioned, to the horse arena next to the lake, which we think is long-term a very good place. Otherwise, we then continue back up in the Roseg Valley and all the way down to Swads. And of course, the last 10K is the crucial and maybe normally the place where the race is finally decided, because it's really looks flat on this profile, but those who have been there skiing know there is nothing but flat the last 10K. It's actually really tough and a very cool finish up in the village of the beautiful ancient village of Swad. So it's a very, very nice finish on the piazza there. A little bit tricky for us because it's not modern built, so to say. It's quite small, and that makes it so cozy as well. So a great race, and really look forward this Saturday's race.
Indeed, it's a cozy place to finish the race. Then questions for these. Is any questions there out there from the media reps? All right, Jakob Hård, please go ahead.
Just to make things clear, because I think the press release was a bit cryptical. The reason for moving the start 1 hour is actually the cold, right?
I can explain, because it will be cold, but it's not as cold as the rules, so to say, the limit are. So the decision is not by the jury, but the decision is by the local organizing committee, because they want everyone to have a great experience from the race. So it's a long-term decision from the LOC to move 1 hour later. They still, compared to Vasaloppet, a young event, even if they are 11 years old. So they always try to improve every year. And the decision by the LOC that we had, of course, together discussion on was to move it 1 hour, and that will be the new starting time also for the future. So the temperature is cold, but it's not as cold as on the limit of the popular races in the FIS.
Okay, I understand that. That's and I'm not opposing the decision, but this decision coming this late, it actually has to do with the temperature, right?
Definitely, that they want everyone to have, including the professional skiers, but also the recreational skiers, to have a good event on Saturday. So, of course, it is seeing improvements in that, and we have from our side in Ski Classics been supportive to this upgraded decision, because we believe also that it's a good decision.
Thank you.
And then we have a question from Andreas Blomqvist. Please go ahead.
Yes, please explain once again the changes from last year regarding the course. I understand the second sprint is another one. Where were the mudslide that shortened the race a little bit, and if there are any other changes from last year?
Ramun, you take that?
Yes, I can do that. The second one I thought is in Val Roseg. So when we come back from St. Moritz and go past Pontresina again, we go into Val Roseg, which is a side valley. And usually we there went in like 2/3 of the valley. And now we had to cut there like, I would say, roughly 800 meters, where we could go, where we turn usually if we have to turn earlier and take there a bridge and come back. That's why, because in the summer a mudslide came down, so it's not possible to go both ways. One way in is still possible, but we need both ways, to not have the situation that we cross. And the other thing is in La Punt, when we come back towards
La Punt, you actually see to the left of your face in our background. That's La Punt, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we went straight through La Punt, through the village, and now before La Punt we turn left, and then we go. If we look in direction of the race, we turn left, and we go left side La Punt. We pass the village, and when we come back, This is a completely organizational side. We need to put in less snow in the roads, and it makes it life easier for the organizational part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. I think unless there's any more questions for these two, thank you, guys. We move on. I think we have last weekend's the winner there, but thank you, guys. And we do have Andreas Nygaard there ready. How are you doing today? Feeling good? Feeling well? Feeling prepared?
Yeah, I'm feeling well, healthy, and life in Livigno is always good, especially when the sun is up.
Indeed, you guys always go to Livigno to prepare for this particular race, but I recall you being a little bit way back in Mallorca, when I interviewed you and when we did the Ski Classic Ski or Die. At that time, you were a bit unsure about your shape, and now you're on a winning streak. How's that possible? What happened? How come that you're in that good of a shape? Back then, you didn't think it'll happen.
Yeah, you never can take for granted that your body is responding in the way it used to or has done before. So I just think that I'm being healthy and my body has, adapted to the stimulus I have given it. And sometimes that is not the case, and you then don't get at the level you're used to be at. But I'm a good version of myself, and it's always nice to then see that you can be fighting for the first spot.
But La Diagonela is not necessarily your favorite race in terms of the winning, because of several things. But how do you feel about it now?
Yeah, I tend to struggle a little bit in La Diagonela. Maybe just once or twice felt really good, and then I think we had a lot way better skis than the others, so that's why I managed to do so well. So I don't know if it's the altitude or the course, but we will see. I was struggling a bit in the uphills in Toblach, so hopefully I will feel a little bit stronger this Saturday in La Diagonela, because it's going to be a tough last 10Ks there.
Indeed. And then questions. I think Jakob Hård, you have one for Andreas.
Yes, Andreas, I just want to hear how you look upon the situation last weekend where you got the yellow card.
Yeah, I've been looking through that situation many times. So undoubtedly, I'm really, really close on Axel there. And unfortunately for me, the tracks turns right without any of us noticing. And even Kasper in his own track to the right of us almost fell. So Axel is then standing up because of the turn, not so much for me coming in. And then Støstad is too close on Jutterström and don't see the turn and jumps out of the tracks and takes Joly and Johan with them. So very unfortunately, I don't feel I'm in the tracks ahead of Axel anytime. But of course, I'm really, really tight on him. But I think it's the right turn of the course that really plays me badly. So yeah, it was a shame that people were falling, and I didn't notice this at the time, and I've been looking through it a lot afterwards. So I wish I didn't have a yellow card for the rest of the season, but that's the way it is.
Okay, thank you.
And then Ingeborg Scheve, your turn.
Yeah, hi Andreas. That was a pretty crazy finish you pulled off last weekend.
Thank you.
That looked pretty impressive. And you think that you hope to be a little stronger this weekend? That's going to be scary for everyone. What are you going to do with that strength? Where are you going to put it out? Like, how do you see this course play out for you? Where do you have to put out your strength?
I don't know if I'm going to be stronger than last weekend. Usually I'm better in Toblach than I'm up in Engadin Valley, but I've been healthy. I have been training the way I want. This week we had a hard interval session today and it felt okay, but it's hard when it's so cold and it's such a big advantage coming from behind to do anything before the last 10Ks coming down to suits. So yeah, I think for me, I would just wait and pray that I have still some matches left for the last 2Ks, and hopefully I can be up there fighting for the win, but I will not do anything to push the pace any before. So yeah, I will put on a lot of clothes and hopefully have some power left in the end.
And you also have some experience with cold and like Diagonela from before, I know. How are your fingers and toes? Do you ever feel that again? Still?
Yeah, I made some bad decisions back then, and I'm still paying the price for that. So I need to be careful and race with things both on my feet and on my hands that I don't want to normally. But I'm glad the LOC have seen the forecast and made the decision to postpone the race with 1 hour. Maybe we could have done 2, but I think Diagonela should always start at a little bit later time than it has done in the past, because we know how the weather can be there. So yeah, glad for the decision and looking forward for Saturday's race.
So how do you deal with the cold now? I mean, like you say that you still have issues with your hands and your feet. Like, in what way does it affect your racing?
I just have to keep my core temperature high, use wool soles in my shoes and some overcovers, and instead of racing with the same gloves as I did in Mallorca, I need to do some big mittens maybe with some cover straps, and yeah, just be more cautious about what I'm wearing.
Okay, thanks. We're excited to see what you can pull off. That'll be cool.
Thank you.
And then any more questions before we let him go? Okay, we do have one from Maria Balberg. Please go ahead.
Hey, Andreas, could you please, for our viewers, I'm asking for their sake, also explain a bit about the body and the reaction when you go on heights, the effects and what you as a skier has to be sort of look out for when you're on high altitude and racing, and how it feels. I mean, you can explain for them how it is to breathe on those heights.
It feels quite as it does back home, but you just breathe more faster and in a deeper way on an earlier stage of your intensity, because when you're so high up in the altitude, the pressure of oxygen in the air is just lower, so the oxygen in your blood will also be lower, and the oxygen is what you need to perform. So then you tend to increase your respiration, and therefore it feels harder, but we have been a lot in altitude now, and it's the same for everyone. But I remember when I was going for the green bib and going for the sprints, I felt always that the Engadine sprints were the hardest one, because when you first pass the point of no return or pass your red zone, it's hard to come back. So for me, I try to stay below the red zone as long as I can, because up there you don't like recover in the same way you do when you're back home. But yeah, it feels the same. You just go slower and start to breathe earlier.
Thank you, Andreas. And is it okay for you others with one follow-up question?
Sure, go ahead.
Andreas, to quote yourself on Saturday morning, you said the tactics was to be asleep, to save energy in the beginning, and then a wake-up call after the sprint and the climb. Can you explain any of the tactics here? Is there any moments to be able to reload and, quote, sleep in the beginning of this race, or?
The sleeping possibilities are a little bit worse this weekend. You have a sprint which always goes really, really fast in the beginning, and you have this railroad crossing maybe after 8K when you're going up in the woods and going to St. Moritz, where the pace is always really hard. And we have a right turn into a herringbone hill where the guys in the back always gets big gaps to the guys in front, and up to St. Moritz and the sprint there, the pace is always high. So I cannot be sleeping in the same way as I did in Toblach for sure. But I think it will be really, really hard for anyone to do anything before Zoos. So, yeah, I would just stay in the back. But maybe we have some guys on our team that will try to get in a breakaway. But, yeah, we will see.
Perfect. Tack Andreas, lycka till.
Tack.
Thank you very much. But before I let you go quickly, who's your favorite to win, if not you?
It's a boring answer, but I think Kasper is the guy to beat. He has won there before, and he is in really good shape. But I'm hoping that Team Aker Dæhlie gets their skis straight. And we all know what Hulgaard and Max can do in this kind of finish. But I think Petter Stakstone could be a guy to watch, and hopefully their skis will be faster than it has been on these cold races earlier in the season.
Thank you. Great names. Thank you very much, and good luck. For
Thank
Saturday.
you.
And the next one in line, we should have Emil Persson, last year's hero, the superstar. Good to have you. How are you doing? I think you're doing well after last weekend's race, correct?
Yeah, having good times here in Engadin Valley.
Indeed. How did it feel to finally be back on the podium? And of course, last year you were almost unbeatable. Then the early part of this season, really difficult, challenges you faced. But now it seems that you are hopped on the bandwagon again. But how does it feel from your perspective?
It feels really good. It's a lot more fun to race up there in the top positions than further down in the list. So I'm glad that I had good body and good skis last weekend. So I'm hoping for the same feelings upcoming weekend.
Do you think that this track, La Diagonela, suits you well?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm in good shape, I think I have good chances to do good results here too. I did like I won last year, so, and I like the attitude also, so that suits me quite well.
So Andreas has said Kasper is in a good shape. He thinks that he might be the one or the one that you need to beat. But what about you? Who's your toughest rival?
Yeah, I think he's right when he says Kasper. He showed last weekend and the races before Christmas he was good. And of course, Team Aker Dæhlie with Axel Jutterström, he's been up there on every races now, so I think he can be. I'm sure he will be up there this weekend too.
Indeed. Then questions for Emil. Andreas Blomqvist, please go ahead.
Hey, Emil.
Hey.
I understand you have had some problems in the early races this season. Were they perfect this last season for you?
I had the last race was really good. Didn't have any problems with anything then.
How was your reaction after the last race? Did your body responded well the days after, or does it feel the same now, or you still feel something after your cold before Christmas?
No, I don't think the cold before Christmas has. I think it's left my body totally now. So, but my body was really sore after the Dæhlie ski marathon. It's I think it's thanks to the high pace from the climb and down to the finish line is like 30 minutes all out in a high pace. Then you get beaten a lot. So I was quite sore Sunday and Monday, but I feel my body has recovered well now. So I think I have good shape.
Sounds good. Have you been able to do the training you meant to do this week?
Yeah, I've done a few longer sessions to just get some hours in and just adapt to the attitude now. And we did some intervals today, and had quite good body then.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
And then any more questions for Emil? All right, Ingeborg, Cheve, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Emil. Fun to see you back on the podium.
Thank you.
How has it affected you mentally to be struggling at the level that you have? Have you ever encountered anything like that before in your career? And what did you do to like deal with it?
Yeah, it happened. I think it was 2 years ago. I had a really good season before, and then I struggled a bit the first races the upcoming season. But after a couple of races, you just have to like take it down a notch and just regroup and restart a little bit and start training and like do the things you respond well to. And that's what I did this Christmas week. So, and I felt that I had good results on that training. So yeah, the shape is much better now than before Christmas.
Right, but like how does it feel? Like, were you confident that it was going to come back, or were you wondering if it was going to drag on forever?
No, I've learned a lot. Like I've done this a couple of years now, so I know what my body responds well to. So I was not that like nervous or I'm worried about if I will get in shape. But
well, thanks. And then tactically, how do you approach this race coming up? Like, where are you going to put your power to the line?
yeah, I think it's same answer as Andreas told you before. You can't. I think it will be hard to do anything before the last 10K because it's very flat and it's really tough to go like in a small group or solo before Pontresina to Sus. So you have to save a lot of energy and power to the last 10K and the last 2K with a quite tough finish.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
All
you.
right. Any more questions before we move on? Any more for Emil Persson? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Emil. We all know that the last hill is really tough for you guys, and you all will be fighting tooth and nail there. But good luck, and thank you very much, Ian, for coming, and do well on Saturday. And we move on to Axel Jutterström.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing now? Good? Feeling well?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good indeed. I mean, you did really well, last weekend, and also Emil mentioned you that you could be a favorite as well. But how do you feel about that yourself? I mean, are you confident that you can finally reach the podium?
Yeah, I'm confident that I could reach the podium. I feel like the shape is good, and I think also it could be better this weekend than it was last weekend. So I'm confident that is possible.
When you say that you could be better, how come? I mean, do you feel that the high altitude is good for you, or your training and preparations gone even better than for last year?
I had sickness over Christmas, so I was a bit unsure of the shape last week. So I was happy that the body felt so good then, but I think it could be better.
All right, good to hear us. Then questions for Axel. All right, Andreas Buskqvist, please go ahead.
Hey, Axel.
Hi.
How long pause do you had to take for that cold during Christmas? How many days couldn't you train?
A week.
Okay. That incident when Andreas got his yellow card, Did it bother you a lot, or you managed to do that well after that crossing?
Yeah, since I stayed on my feet, it didn't cause that much problem, but it was really close that it made me fall. And I also lose some speed, so I lost some positions due to it. But yeah, I at least managed to stay on my feet.
Regarding you had that cold, that finish after that, and also that whole race, you seemed as strong as you were before Christmas. Is that the feeling now going into this race?
Yeah, the feeling the week up to the last race, I didn't feel as strong, but then the body responded good, and I've been feeling better this week. So yeah, I think I'm getting close to that.
Yeah, and you didn't get any reaction after the race that worried you?
No, I recovered well.
Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
And then Jakob Hård, please go ahead.
Hey, Axel.
Hi.
Do you feel confident now going into a race that you can get a good result out of, like, any tactics? I mean, are you confident coming into a short sprint, or do you want a longer sprint, or what do you prefer?
I think the finish on Saturday suits me quite well, since it's uphill the last 1.5k, and it's a different sprint than usual. So yeah, that also makes it tougher for a long time and a longer sprint. So I think that's what suits me best.
Tack. Good luck.
Bye.
And then Maria Wahlberg, you have a question.
Hey, Axel. Now being into the season a bit, can you explain for us the strength that you feel in the team and the possibilities you have on the men's sides tactic-wise? I mean, seeing you have so many skiers up in the top 10 in the last couple of races, can you develop and focus through a bit how that makes you feel and the roles that you have, and looking ahead of this weekend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really nice that we're so many strong guys right now. It makes it possible to do a lot more tactics than that. Some people can be offensive and some maybe a bit more defensive, and it's also really fun to see your teammates doing well. So I think it just makes it possible to do tactics where some of us can hopefully win, and that would be really fun if a teammate won, or myself.
How much do you think it has improved in your skiing to feel that you have also the connection and the possibilities to work as a team for you? How much has it helped you in relaxing also in the race?
One part is that I've been training with these guys the whole summer and autumn, and also now during winter. So that I think have helped everybody to increase the level. And also when you're like we were in Venosta, 4 guys in a 7-man group, it makes it possible to do to help each other and do the tactics that you want to play out.
Thank you, Axel. Lycka till.
Bye.
I think Andreas Blomqvist, you have another question for Axel?
Yeah. What happened to Morten with his crash with the binding? What happened?
Yeah, I was right behind him when it happened, and he was passing a guy and getting back to his track, and his ski tip went out in the snow, so he made a turn around a whole lap and fell in the snow, and the binding broke. So he was trying to ski on one ski. I think it was 3K to the next service station. So the pictures on the TV was a bit further down when he was trying to ski without a binding.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Axel, I think we should invite your teammates, Magni Smedås and Kati Roivas as well. Are they there?
Yes, they're
There they are together. So, but you guys, Magni, I mean, you did really a nice thing. I mean, you gave your pole to Kati. I mean, that's an impossible. I mean, that's a great thing to do. I mean, it's how come? I mean, you could have fight for the podium as well, but you decided to give a chance to her.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of thoughts going through my mind at that very moment. We had just passed the service zone, so I knew it was about 4 kilometers to the next one. And it was also 500 meters before the sprint, so a very critical part of the race. So I actually had to choose between giving myself the opportunity to make the podium or to give it to Kati. And consider the fact that she's been so strong on training lately, I just didn't have the heart to leave her behind, no matter how strong I felt myself. So I gave her my pole and watched the train leave without me, which was not too happy feeling, but at the same time it felt very right in that very moment. And I'm so glad that she grabbed the opportunity with both hands and made the podium. So I'm really proud of her.
Indeed, she did, and not a lot of people know that there's history in the making, Kati. I mean, you're on a podium 2 times in a row. That hasn't happened here in Finland ever before. You're the first Finnish skier to do that, to be in a podium twice back to back. But how does it feel? I mean, it's you becoming a big star here in Finland in terms of you.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Of course, it's really great, but I don't think about it so much between the races, just focusing on the next one. So, of course, it's really great, and I hope that it makes more skiers in Finland to think about the long distance option, not just as a second option or option after if they don't make it to World Cup or so.
Good. Tactically, what do you guys think about this coming weekend? Probably, hopefully, you don't need to give another pole or skis this time around.
We'll try to avoid that. But we are, all 4 of us on the girls' side are really strong now. We have Frida going for the sprint bib. Sophie is really strong. Unfortunately, she had some bad luck during the race last weekend. And then there's us 2 who are pretty much as strong, both of us. So I think we have good chances for this weekend.
Yeah, we'll create a couple of scenarios and see how it plays out during the race.
Yeah, you will cook up with something. But then questions. All right, Anders Blomqvist.
Hello, I have a question for Magni.
Yeah, shoot.
Good to see you back in the race. Did you feel anything from your back this race or the days after?
Well, I was very excited before the race. I had only been doing 2 double pole sessions before the race, so a bit nervous, but it turned out really well. And of course, it's been a bit tight after, but I've been doing some mobility training and now I'm heading over to the physio in 20 minutes. So I think it'll be good for this weekend.
But you have been able to double pole after the race, coming into this race, or do you have to adapt also between the races?
Well, I have avoided double poling because I don't want to put more pressure onto my back. And I think 63 kilometers of double poling in Toblach is hard for anyone. So I'm trying to give my back as much rest as I can.
So you ski and skate and diagonal, or what do you do?
Yeah, skating, a lot of skating, running. Of course, I have been double poling a bit, but mostly skating. So, but I love to skate, so that's fine.
Thank you and good luck, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then more questions for these 2 ladies. Well, I have one. You mentioned the tactics that you will go and, secretly, cook up with something, come up with something. But seriously, speaking of which, how do you guys try to beat Ida? I mean, she was so strong last weekend, assuming that she will be in the same, kind of the same level. What needs to be done there? You have a good team, as you mentioned. How can you beat her?
First. Yeah, that's a hard question. I mean, she's so strong right now. I guess someone just have to be really offensive and go for it. Try to keep up with her.
Yeah, I think so. And also Emilia is very strong now. So there are so many strong women on the women's side. So I think we'll do our best to try to keep up. And then, we'll see what happens.
And then what about
for any dirty tactics?
Of course not. What about the course? I mean, this is very different course, from last weekends where you had a long climb, then you turn around a long downhill section. This is a different ball game. How would you kind of describe it from your perspective, and how well does it fit you or your team?
Well, I think it fits all of us very well. This is the first time I'm doing the original track. I only did La Diagonela last year when it was the backup track. So this track is really hard. You have to pay attention all the way. I think we'll be, more or less one group into the sprint, and then someone will try to pick up the pace after the railways, and then we just have to go full speed. But we are so strong in the uphills, all of us, like especially Kati and Sophie. And then I feel like I'm pretty good at, both uphill and flats. So no, I think this one fits us very well. We like tough courses.
And then what about you, Kati? I mean, I know that you have some not so pleasant, some unpleasant memories, of course, from the couple of years back. But how do you feel about La Diagonela right now?
Yeah, I mean, I like the course. It has suited me well. Of course, I have bad memories from here as well, and it will be cold on Saturday. So now I will be prepared. So I think it will be good.
Good. More questions for these two before we let them go? Well, guys, good luck. I hope you guys will do really well. Of course, you will. But and I know that you go back and you will try some tactical strategy on paper and try to see how you beat Ida, who is actually next in line. So it's probably listening. They're like, what are they cooking up with? But
happy
good luck.
birthday to her.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, both of you, and good luck.
Thank you.
And then we should have the last weekend's the winner, Ida Dahl there, Team Engcon. Good.
Hello.
How are you doing? You still feeling as strong as you did last weekend? Of course you are, I assume.
Yeah, it still feels good. So hopefully the shape will be intact until Saturday. Speaking
of that race, going back there, was that kind of preordained, your attack, or just kind of just happened that you felt so strong and decided to break away?
Yeah, mostly just happened. It was I didn't plan it on the before or something, but I felt during the race that maybe I was the strongest girl for the day, and so I just tried to went for it, and it worked out quite well. So it was a good tactic for that day.
Will that be the tactic for you on Saturday as well?
If I feel so good and so much stronger than everyone else, then maybe. But I think that Emilia will be much stronger this weekend, since she will have more days on the altitude and so on. So I think it will be a tough race until the finish line.
Indeed, it will. Then questions for Ida. Andreas Buskqvist, please go ahead.
Hey, Ida.
Hey.
You looked really impressive last weekend. How did your body react on the race, and how did you feel the days after?
Of course, I was very tired. It was a hard and long race, and we haven't done any so long races before this season. So yeah, I mean, of course, I felt it the first 2 days, but now I feel quite recovered. So I have high hopes for the weekend.
It feels like your form has improved almost for weekend this year. Is that the feeling going into next weekend as well, or what has your thoughts been this week?
Yeah, definitely. It has just felt better and better. So I hope that that will continue, and so on. It feels good. So we will just see.
When I saw you race last weekend was that you could almost go away from the field whenever you wanted, and you and Emilia were way after the sprint, but you let the other catch you anyway. Were you aware that Magni had the problems with the pools? That was one of the reasons that she wasn't with you?
No, I heard it a bit later, so I wasn't not so aware of it. I noticed that she wasn't in the group behind with Kati and Silje, but I didn't know exactly what had happened. But yeah, longer into the race, I heard it.
What was the reason that the others caught you again when you and Emilia were away? Were you disagreed who should keep up the pace, or what happened there?
Yeah, no, I mean, we just went too slow, or I don't know. So I didn't wanted to push so hard so early. So I felt that yeah, they have dropped out once, so maybe they will do it again if we start to push harder. So yeah, it felt kind of controlled.
If you at that time had been aware that Magni had these pool problems and it wasn't that she couldn't follow the pace, would that have changed your mind, do you think?
No, I don't know. She didn't show herself so much before the sprint, so I mean, I was not aware how strong she was for the day, but usually the uphills are not her strongest side. So I don't know, maybe, but I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anders. More questions for Ida? Ingeborg Schäfer, please go ahead.
Yeah, hey, important or it's impressive finish last week. I mean, like it was pretty much from the beginning. That was pretty cool. How do you feel about now you moved into the yellow bib, and will you be able to hold on to it for the rest of the season?
It depends on how strong the other girls are, I think, but I will try, definitely.
What will you do to do that? Like, what do you think it will take?
It will take that you have a good shape throughout the whole season, definitely. So yeah, listen to your body and train smart, I think.
Are you good at that?
Sorry?
Are you good at doing that?
So far, I've been quite good at it. So hopefully I can continue to listen to myself and what's the best for me right now.
That's great.
Okay, and then Maria Valberg, you have a question.
Ida, first of all, huge congratulations on your birthday.
Thank you.
Also, can you tell us a little bit about the training today? We saw on social media some intervals. Can you tell us what a week like this one looks like, coming from a hard race, impressive win, and then going into the weekend? How do you pace it this week, the early sessions and so on?
Yeah, the first 3 days has been quite easy. Just train what feels good and listen very much to your body. So, and today was the first hard session. So the whole team did some intervals today. So yeah, it's time to wake up the body again.
And in terms of distances, what can a session like that look like for us who hasn't trained like you do? I mean, in terms of length and so on, how far do you go, etc.?
On the commerce sessions, it's often between like 2.5 to 4 hours, depending on how you feel and how tired you are. And the intervals is also quite different between all of us. So maybe between 3 minutes up to 10 minutes long intervals, varying intensity also.
At last, Ida, looking at this season, I mean, last year you also did some traditional starts in the World Cup, did the Tour de Ski. How strong do you feel in the body? Is there any areas where you feel that you improved even more since last year, now with those races under your belt?
I mean, it feels good. I think I have gotten in the little more like faster or more explosive than I was last year. I hope so. It's at least something I have tried to improve. But for the classic and skate, I don't know. I don't do it so much.
Akira, and at last, any cakes from the team? Any surprises when you're on tour on birthday? Any surprises you've been given today that you can share with us?
I was given 2 cakes today, so I have eaten a lot of cake. So right now I'm a little bit nauseous actually, but that's good.
Perfect. Tack Ida, lycka till.
All right, thank you,
Thanks.
thank you, Maria, and Ida. Don't eat too much cake, before the race. But thank you very much, and good luck. And we are all excited to
Thank
see
you.
if you're gonna break away again. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Yeah.
And then we'll have
Thank you.
Silje, Øyre, Slind, Team Aker there. Hi,
Yes,
Silje.
hello.
Hey, how are you doing? All well?
I'm all well.
Good. Going back to the last weekend's race, I mean, it's a little bit of a cat and mouse between you and Kati and Emilia, but now going back, how do you feel about that, now after a couple of days,
I think it was a really fun race. I thought I lost the leading group several times, but I caught up with at least Emilia and Kati again. And it was fun to ski together with them all the way to the finish line, almost all the way to the finish line.
Are you expecting something like that going to happen this weekend or this Saturday as well? Or what kind of a race are you anticipating or expecting?
I'm expecting a pretty tough race. It's a lot of hills around, all the way over to St. Moritz and all the way up to Ponte de Sina again. So I think both Emilia and Ida will be very eager to go to ski fast there. So I'll just try to hold on as long as I can, and hopefully I can hold on all the way into the finish line.
Indeed. And then questions for Silje. Anders Blomqvist, please go ahead.
Hey Silje.
Hi.
Have you been able to be on high altitude now before this race and not being home training others, or how's your week been after last race?
Yeah, this week I've been fortunate enough to stay with the team. So we went to Celerina right after, or we went here on Sunday. So at least I'll get 6 days of altitude before the race, which is better than it was in Bad Gastein. And I hope it's going to be enough to be racing fast in altitude.
You think you're recovered from the problems you had before New Year, or?
I feel last week was a lot better than expected, because I have been feeling a lot of. I've been training a lot during the Christmas to catch up with the problems I had before Christmas and during Løvenosta. But I felt pretty good last weekend, and I hope it's going to be good this weekend too. It's hard to say at this point.
Some of the guys in your team had a little bit problems with the skis. Were your skis okay, or did you have to fight a lot to be able to go with the group?
I think Emilia's skis were not very good either. So I was able to ski with her. I think we had like similar skis. And then I know the boys, our waxers have figured out what went wrong last weekend. So hopefully we'll have even better skis this weekend.
Sounds good. It seemed like you were sprinting almost the last 10K. What's that your opinion as well?
Yeah, I was pretty tired. So yeah, I hit rock bottom there before the finish line when Emilia caught up with me again.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Are there more questions for Silje? You talked about the high altitude, but what are kind of the trickiest obstacles that a skier can face? I mean, you guys have been up there for a while now, but still, high altitude is always a bit tricky.
Yeah, and the altitude is like you need some time to get used to it, and the best would be to stay here for a couple of weeks at least before the races. But I didn't have the chance for that. So the rest of my team have been staying up at La Bassée also before Toblach to get the altitude training before this weekend. So that's tricky to know how the body reacts to that. And it can feel very fine until it suddenly doesn't. So it's a bit different from skiing in lower land or lower altitude, where you can you have a better connection with your body kind of. So that's the biggest challenge, to know when to let the group go before you like hit the wall.
But do you feel that you've adapted now?
Yeah, well, today is like the worst day in the altitude for me. So I hopefully when we get to the weekend, I'll have adapted enough to ski fast again.
Indeed. Any more questions before we move on? Well, yes, we do have. Andreas Blomqvist. Again, please go ahead.
Yes, Silje. How's the situation with Astrid?
Astrid's feeling better. She's still not going to compete this weekend, but I think she's hoping to be able to ski the Marcia Longa. So we'll see if she'll be back until that weekend, and she'll be coming down here to join the team and be in the service side this weekend, and then hopefully be on the racing side next weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Anders. That'll be interesting to see, if Astrid can do it, and then you can come up with a really good tactic for Marcia Longa, correct?
Yeah, that would be fun to do a twin tactic there.
Good. Before I let you go, what would be the result that you could be happy with on Saturday?
It's hard to say, but of course I would be happy to take the step up onto the podium. When I was so close last weekend, I hope I can do that. So if I get onto the podium, I'll be really happy with that.
Now that'll be your goal for this Saturday.
Of course, like everyone else's.
Exactly. Thank you very much and good luck. And let's hope that you're going to be up there on the podium.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And then, bye-bye. And then Thomas Joly, Team Näringsbanken Stora Enso. There. And Joly Kvale Støstad, you both there. How are you guys doing?
Fine, thank you.
Hey.
Good. Can you move the camera a little bit so we can see both of you? At least I can only see half of you. Oh, right now it's a little bit better. Okay, guys, how are you been preparing, for this Saturday? High altitude, tough race. How are you guys feeling about it right now?
Yeah, we are feeling good, I think. Thomas has been a little bit longer than in the altitude than me, but I think it's good.
So Thomas, speaking of the last weekend's race, how do you now feel about that? I mean, you're pretty close up there, 18 seconds from the from the victory. Do you feel that you will be able to finally be on the podium this season, maybe on the coming weekend?
Yes. Last week was a good race. Ski was really nice, shape too. So it's just shame for the field in the finish just before the sprint. So it's a game, and I think it was not my day.
And then you, Joly, what about you? I mean, top 10, is that your goal right now, or even higher up? What is that? What you're shooting at?
Yeah, top 10 now is my goal. Before the season, it was like top 20. So it's been really, really good for me. So top 10 will also be really good in the next races.
So gradual steps towards the the top. Good. Anders Blomqvist, please go ahead.
I have a question for Thomas. What was your? What do you think about the situation where you fell, where Nygaard made that move? How was your reaction, and what was your feeling in your body before that?
Yes. So just after the race, I'm just sad because in my sail, I think it was possible to play for the podium, but now I think just it's a game, it's a race. Sometimes it's like this in the final. It's always stress, you know. So no, I think it's just a game.
But how were your body at that moment? Were you in the position to attack, or were you just following the group, or what? How was your situation at that time?
Yes, at this moment, my plan was just follow Andreas because I think it's maybe the best in the sprint and in the final. So I was just try to follow Andreas, and after I failed.
You were really impressive this summer and during the roller ski races, and really fast at the finish. Was that the feeling that this was the time for you to do it on skis as well?
Yes, thanks. Yes, I think I'm good in sprint. I'm good in the finish. So now I need to prove in winter. So maybe this weekend.
Thank you. And I have a question for Joly as well. You have really improved this season. What's the reason for that?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't done any races before. I started with like skiing this in March, I think. So I've just been training good, and yeah. So I don't know actually.
Where do you live in Norway?
I moved to Lillehammer in August.
And who is your trainer?
Oh, it's my boyfriend actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you both, and good luck.
Thank you.
Good place to live in Lillehammer. Jakob Hård, you're next.
I have a question for Thomas. As Anders earlier mentioned, you were very successful in the summer in the roller ski races. So we were really curious about how you would do in the ski races. The results were not so good until last weekend. How has the fall and the beginning of the winter been for you?
Yes, thanks. Yes, this summer was really, really nice for me, but I think my start of season in winter was not good. I had a COVID at Venosta, so it was not easy for compete. And the first weekend at Bad Giersten, I think I took a bad skis, maybe. So yes, maybe no chance, but I think now ski look really nice. My shape are better and better, so I hope fight for top 10 and maybe catch a podium.
All right, thank you. It will be interesting to see.
Thanks.
Then any more questions for these two? So Thomas, one for you at least. What kind of a race are you expecting La Diagonela to be? Sprint finish, much like last weekend, or maybe a breakaway in a men's race?
Oh, no, I just think my plan is just to follow a group all the time if I can, and wait to finish and play for the win, because I think it's the best for me to sprint in a big group, you know, so just follow and wait to finish, yes.
All right, Ingeborg Schäbe, you have a question.
Yeah, it was really nice meeting you at your training camp in the fall in Florida. That was really, really fun. We talked a little bit then about transitioning to a Norwegian team. And so how has that been for you? How has the fall played out, and how has your training changed after that?
Yes, I think I'm really nice with the new team. My teammates are really good with me. For the training, I think just I'm continue my plan, just train with my conviction and train a lot in the summer, and just I hope don't feel sick in winter for be always good. So yes, I think it's always the same.
I forget now. Did you move to Norway now for the winter?
Yes, I'm just moved for the camp with the team, and I'm staying between the race in August. So after I'm back in French for train and live at home.
So now you live at home, or?
Yeah, now I live in French again.
Okay, cool. So is it hard to communicate with your team when you're in France and they're in Norway?
Sometimes easy, sometimes hard because my English, you can understand, can listen, is not so good. But yes, we can speak, and we can. It's okay.
We're excited to see what comes out.
Oui.
Oh, she said she's excited to see what comes out. So,
Okay.
but maybe you should teach your teammates to speak French, correct? Joly, would you be ready for that? Do you speak French?
Oh, French, it's really hard. So I think Norwegian too, but no, we speak in English, of course.
Good, thank you guys very much. And I know that Thomas, you'll be shooting for the podium place on Saturday, and Joly, for you, of course, top 10. Correct. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
And then Magnus Vesterheim. How are you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm doing fine, yeah.
Good, from Team Kaffebryggeriet, the coffee boys, as I tend to call you guys. You have your cup of coffee there ready next to you?
No, I can't sleep if I drink after 3, so no coffee now.
Okay, so only in the mornings.
Yeah.
But Magnus, you've been around for a long time, and a little bit of a roller coaster ride for you. Sometimes really close, sometimes not that close. But of course, last weekend, 6th, really a good place there. How do you feel about your shape right now, and do you feel that finally the podium could come?
Yeah, it's been many years now that I feel like I kind of had a good enough shape to fight for the podium, but it's always been something, either with my shape or my skis, or So I'm hoping that this weekend or this year is going to be the opportunity.
And speaking of this weekend, what kind of race do you foresee?
Hopefully, it's not going to be that cold. That's my main concern right now. But if not, I think it will be quite hard. It's slow snow up here, so it's like roller skiing on the the toughest skis. So I think it's going to be tough, and probably like 10-15 guys fighting for the win in the last uphill, so it's going to be fun.
La Diagonela is always really tough and challenging race. Questions for Magnus? Anders Blomqvist, please go ahead.
Hey, Magnus.
Hey.
You have a little bit different background from a lot of other skiers, I have heard. Can you tell us a little bit about it and how much you train now? I've heard you train a lot.
Yeah, I started skiing. I got my first pair of skis in 2015. So before that, I hadn't skied anything. Only like two sessions a year with the school. So since then, I've been training around 10,000 to 1,100 hours. So I started with the goal to get 10,000 hours, because I heard that you need to do that to reach the world class, or at least your top level. So now I got 200 training hours left to reach the 10,000 goal. So really looking forward to feel the the improvement of reaching 10,000.
Yeah, that could maybe be exactly when you take your first podium place then.
Yeah, it would be the perfect story if I go through 10,000 hours in March and do a podium in Vasaloppet. That would be a dream.
That's cool. Where do you live and who trains you?
I live in Lillehammer, and I've been training myself since the start. So yeah, nothing fancy, just long sessions and putting in the hours.
But you do sessions with other skiers in Lillehammer? You train especially with some of them?
Yeah, Vetle Thyli on the team lives 50 meters away from me, so we're doing a lot of sessions, and yeah, the whole team is living in Lillehammer now. So yeah.
Thank you, and good luck with the 10,000s.
Thank you.
And as a follow-up to the Andres' question, what made you pick up? Why did you pick up skiing back then, 2015?
Me and some friends were thinking about setting the world record on crossing Greenland. So that's how it started. One of the guys that was going for the world record had been doing skiing when he was younger, so it was him that got me the skis. And at the start, I was just training for that, and yeah. Then did the world longest ski race in Lillehammer then, the Troll Ski Marathon, and yeah, really liked like having a start bib on and competing against other guys. So yeah, since then it's yeah, like we say in Norway, the snowball has just got bigger and bigger.
Did you ever complete the Greenland adventure?
No, one of the guys that was going for it got sick just like 1 month before, so it. I don't think we're gonna do it, but we haven't like completely forgot it.
All right, Jakob Hård, you have a question.
Yes, hello. It's fascinating with your background story. So 2 questions. What was your sporting background outside of skiing before you took it up? I mean, you must have been active in some way to start training that much. And what about? I guess you have been grown up with skis anyway. But how was it adapting to technique and things like that, starting pretty late?
Yeah, I can take the first part. When I was younger, I played football, and definitely not a technical football player. So I think I was best without the ball and was always running for the team. So like tackling and stuff like that. So always been quite good at like the physical part. But compared to like the skiers, it almost can't compare it with that. But the year before I started in 2014, I was in the military in the special forces. So I was training quite hard the year before that. So I think maybe I have some like basics from that. But I think I've been really lucky that like I haven't got any injuries and my body has been quite responsive to the training. Of course, now it's been 9 years, so I've been training for a while now. So yeah. And the other question about the technique, to say that double poling is skiing for dummies. So I think I've been lucky that I only focused on double poling. If you see me doing like diagonal or skating, you understand that I started only 9 years ago.
Thank you. Fascinating story. Good luck.
Thank you.
Indeed, it is really fascinating, your story. Any more question for this fascinating, wonderful guy, Magnus Vesterheim? One from me before I let you go. You talked about hoping to be on a podium. What does it take for you to be there? I mean, you are knocking on the door.
Yeah, I feel Birkebeinen last year, I feel that was kind of my opportunity so far. We were a small group and fighting for the podium, and yeah, only 4 guys, and I got last. So the problem then was that I didn't have enough energy for the sprint. But when you see in like the last weekend, I was in the I was 6 in a 13 people group, so then I had quite a good sprint. So I need a small group, and I need to have a good shape and energy left in my body. So then maybe, as you understand, it's I can't compete for the podium every weekend. So it has to be yeah, everything has to fall in piece for me to get a podium.
So if the stars align, you can be there. Let's hope that that'll happen this weekend, this Saturday. I mean, once again, thank you very much. And indeed, amazing story, your background. And good luck. Good luck there. And let's see how far you can go this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And then Alfred Buskqvist, Team Ramudden.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Yeah, it's good. It's fun to be in Engadin again. Fantastic place to go skiing. So we have a good time here.
It truly is a fantastic place. I think about 200 kilometers of groomed trails. It's one of my favorite places in the world when it comes to cross-country skiing. But sprinting, of course, 2 sprint points or control points and on Saturday's race. How are you preparing for those 2? The one comes pretty quickly, and then 5 kilometers, then the other one on the lake next to St. Moritz.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun one. I was really glad when I saw that they're going to do not the original track maybe, but to have the sprint in St. Moritz again. Last year it was they changed the track, so I'm really glad to do the old sprint. So yeah, really looking forward to do a double sprint this weekend and to have a really tough one on the second one.
Indeed, double sprint, as you mentioned, 2 sprint points there. Tactic-wise, how different is that from, let's say, like last weekend, Saturday, when you only had 1?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's of course important to save enough energy to stay with the group to the second sprint as well, or be strong enough to be able to sprint and then also stay with the group. So it's always interesting. Of course, it would be nice if you could save energy, but as I saw last year, it was like you always go all out during the sprints, and then it's just a hope that you have the day to follow the pack to the second sprint as well.
Indeed. Then questions for Alfred. Anders Blomqvist, please go ahead.
Hey, Alfred. Seems like you're in real good shape this winter. That's your opinion too? And is it still that way?
Yeah, I hope so. It feels like I've had a really good training year this year, and that last year was a lot of focus to just continue training all season and try to have a really good training year, all from April to April, kind of, or May to May. So it feels like I'm in a really good place. Didn't have my best shape this weekend though, last weekend in Torblas. So hopefully I'm a little bit better this one. But yeah, it feels like my capacity is pretty much higher now than before. So it will be interesting to see during the rest of the season if that's it.
I've heard you had some problems with the skis last weekend. Most of you in that team, was it that was your problem as well?
Yeah, they varied a little bit during the course. I think they were pretty good during the beginning. So in my case, it was mostly that I didn't have my best day actually on the Saturday. So I think it was more my shape than the skis. That was the problem.
You did well in the whole race in Bad Gastein. Are you still focusing on the sprints, or is it possible to see you doing things to be the best Buskqvist you can be in the whole race?
No, my focus is on the sprints. Hopefully, I'm in such high capacity that I can actually follow the group all the way into the finish line. This year, I hope that Bad Gastein wasn't the only time this year that I can actually be pretty good in the end as well. But no, my main goal during the season is still the green bib, so the sprint's going to be my focus.
Okay, last question. Last year, if I remember right, you and Stoček were head to head for about 2 kilometers on the last sprint. Are you going to do that this year as well if somebody challenge you?
Yeah, I think actually one of my biggest strengths is to go pretty hard in a pretty long time. So I think Stoček made his start to speed up a little bit earlier than I would have done myself. So that was maybe one of the toughest sprints all year, I think. But we'll see. I think long sprints suits me pretty well. The other guys are really, really fast. So I think it's not bad for me, at least, if the sprints are a little bit longer.
Thank you and good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Any more questions for Alfred? All right, Maria Wahlberg.
Hey, Alfred. Before the season in Bad Gastein, you told us that you've been doing quite a lot of testing inside in Östersund. What has that sort of results and that data, in which way has it helped you the most towards this winter?
Yeah, I do. I work in the lab, so I do a lot of tests myself. I use it mainly to see where I am as a status check on what I should focus on in training. So I think I've used it more than ever this year, just to see how different training affects different values on testing. So that has been interesting. It's also been really interesting to see the whole team, because you kind of have a thought of which every skier in the team that you spend so much time training with, which their strength is. And it has been really fun to follow that during the year on the 2 tests we did with the whole team as well, just to see how big these strengths really are in numbers. So that has been fun, and also to be able to use a little bit of each other's strengths to be better as a group.
And in saying that, is there anything that you changed dramatically from getting all this information that you do totally different this year from last year?
I think I haven't changed so much. I've trained a little bit differently this year, a little bit more traditional maybe, with really big amount of training during July and August. So I have changed a bit in my training, and it has been interesting to see how that has affected my values. So it has been more for me that I have done changes and then watched what did change, kind of. But I think that most of the people in the team have got some things to work on back at home and change in their training, and I've done as well. So one thing has been a little bit about speed. So I focused a little bit on speed on the treadmill and see how I should change technique to be faster and maybe go faster with still pretty good economy, working economy. So that has been good.
Perfekt. Tack Alfred, lycka till.
Tack.
Thank you, Maria. Any more questions for Alfred before we wrap up, as he's the last star on our show? Well, I have one. This your thoughts for us to kind of leave before we finish. How is Engadin Valley and La Diagonela to race from your perspective? What kind of feelings do you get racing there?
I think it's it's, as I said before, it's one of the most beautiful places to go skiing in that I know of, with such long tracks and all these mountains around. So the surroundings are awesome and the tracks are really good as well. So I think it's you get a good feeling just knowing that you should be here for 1 week or 10 days and do training, and being able to compete in one of these places is really awesome.
Indeed, but don't do much skiing and training, because you have to be fast. You have to be sprinting on Saturday.
Yeah, of course. It's hard to stay inside when you're in this place with good weather. But of course, the last 2 days for the competitions now, I think it's going to be a little bit less training and a little bit more recharging before the weekend.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Alfred, and good luck, and sprint fast and well on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, everyone. Thank you, media representatives, people watching this, and all of you. Get ready for Engadin La Diagonela on Saturday. It'll be an interesting and thrilling, dramatic race maybe as well. So join you then. Have a good week and see you on Saturday. Bye-bye.
Thank you.